go will never be more important than who you become. So once you have your desire fully laid out and thought out in your head, and then you start making actions toward it, most people just focus on getting to the finish line. But the finish line is never more important than the person that you become as you're training to get to the finish line. Why would that person do that? But anyway, so like, let's say college, for example. I have several videos on here talking about how I did not do college the right way, right? My first time being in college, getting my bachelor's, was in 2016 and 2019. There were semesters where I did not do any work. I did not show up to classes, and I did not study for a single exam, but I passed, right? Because things can get done. I sort of finessed my way and, schemed and scammed my way to get those B's and A's that I got in college. But it meant nothing because although I got to the finish line, I did not have any value of it, right? I didn't get any value out of it, right? And the value is you actually learn the information. You actually, make a good connection with your professor, who later can write you a letter of recommendation. You meet your classmates who one day, you could network with. I did not do any of that, right? I did it the hard way. Do not do college the way I did it. Luckily, I'm around too, so I learned from my mistakes. But you don't get any value if you don't do the work, right? And most people, of course, at the time I was like, I just want to get through college. I'm sick of being here. I'm sick of being away from my family. Like, I was going through other stuff, so I just wanted to get to the finish line. But when I got to the finish line, I wasn't the person that I should have or I could have become because I was so just focused on the goal and the desire of graduating college. But had I did college the right way, I would have had more letters of recommendation. I probably would have went and did an internship, or I could have made more networking opportunities. The value is always in the work. If you don't work, you don't get the value. Yes, you might get the title. Yes, I got the degree. Yes, I got the bragging rights of being able to graduate at the age of 21 in 3 years. I graduated in college in 3 years. Yes, I got all of that. But none of it means anything if I don't have the value to back up those claims, right? Because all they are just, proclamations of who I am as a person, but they don't add to my value as of who I am outside of that. And I see a lot of people, they list out their desires on here, and then, they're focused on the finish line, like, especially people who want to lose weight. And it's like, don't be so focused. Like I always say, don't focus on the number on the scale, because then you're going to do any and everything in doing that. And most people, when they lose weight, they gain it all back because they aren't focused on the value, which is the work, right? If you don't do the work that it takes, meaning reducing your calories, increasing your steps, building muscle and things of that nature, then you won't truly appreciate when you get there. It won't last because you have gained no value. And when you get to the finish line, you're basically without substance, okay? And that's why people gain the weight back and all the other stuff. So if you have a desire in life, and let's say it's to make X amount of money, it's to graduate college, it's to do this, do not undervalue the work, because the work is truly what you desire. I know that you said that you desire to get this amount of money, or you desire to lose this amount of weight, but what you really desire, what your soul and your subconscious is really desiring, is the value that comes from the work, because it's always in the work. It's in the years that it takes to gain the insight to get to that finish line. It's in the person that you become, right? Because when you're doing the work and when you're adding value to yourself, it's going to take time. That's the most important. It's not getting there. It's who you become once you get there. Because if you get to the finish line and you're still the same person from when you first started, you learned nothing and you basically wasted time. So, yeah.